Right, okay, we're going to rattle through other results now. Championship round 1, it was Barrow 58, Dewsbury 32, making up on that game. And then round 5 catch-up games from the Championship, it finished Rochdale 10, Batley 48, and Sheffield 14, London 66. And then into League 1, some round 2 catch-up games there. 4 games were played on Saturday. Bradford 54, London 16. We had a review on this one.
Yep, Shoddy and Mungo. Decent contest. Ethan Ryan, star of the game, with 4 tries and a try assist. But great to see another academy player featuring, with Rowan Milnes playing at 6 with at least 1 try assist for himself. Scholars looked dangerous when they had field position.
Yep, then a game that you might be able to fill us in a little bit of detail on, Tim, was Coventry 18, York 58. You were busy with your notepad in this one.
Yes, I was. We actually had no scoreboard for this one. There was a malfunction on the scoreboard, so I was having to make sure I'd written it down to make sure that someone had written the score down. Because normally I have it written down on the back of a notepad and then have it on the scoreboard as my backup. But because I had no scoreboard, I was having to be doubly careful. But it was an interesting game because York ran out to an 18-point lead really quickly, and it was looking ominous. And I thought, hello, we're going to need 100 here. This is going to get a bit horrible. But then Coventry just clawed their way back into it. The centre that they got on loan from London Broncos, Jacob Ogden, he played really well. Took a good try. We also had Peter Ryan on debut, who he picked up a knee injury in pre-season, as he hadn't featured up to this point. He came into the front row. He did really well, and he picked up a try himself as well. But his defence was excellent, which helped bring Coventry back into it. So it was actually just after half an hour gone, it was 18-18, and it was good. Then Coventry had 2 disallowed tries, one for an offside, which was interesting, another one for a knock-on, which was legitimate. And then the second half is quite interesting because James Ford went into the dressing room and he was only in there for probably about 3 or 4 minutes before coming out and sitting on his own in the dugout. Right. So he'd obviously gone in, have a very quick word and come out. But whatever he said clearly did it, whether it was score next or you're getting fired. But it was clearly it had an effect. Coventry, unfortunately, it was more of the play that we've been used to recently of give a penalty away, a silly penalty, and then the opposition score off the next set. And then, as Ron Banks, the club president, likes to say, it's not penalty try, it's penalty try. But overall, it was a much improved performance, and they really did test York in that first half in particular. It's just a case of trying to keep that going for longer, get 2 halves of that, and we will do a lot better. So it was a good game overall. It's a nice day. York were great to have down. Quite a few of their fans came down as well, so they made a bit of noise, and it was good to see them going out and enjoying. Saw a few in town beforehand and enjoying themselves. So it was a nice day, and weather was good, so everybody had fun.
That's great. So some positives there for Coventry. Some positives also for West Wales, who this week only went down by 70 points to Doncaster and scored 18 points themselves. So big improvements from the Raiders there.
That's the most they've scored all season, which is great for them.
Big win for Doncaster too, so good for them. Oldham 74, Hemel 6 rounds up those fixtures. Into the Women's Super League, we had a game in the midweek which finished Featherstone 6, Leeds 36. To keep Leeds' unbeaten 100% record going. Then Featherstone played again over the weekend. This time they lost 32 points to 38 to Castleford. So a bit closer here. It looks like Tara Stanley was the star of the show again for the Tigers ladies there. So watch out for her when internationals come around. Bradford got off their first win of the season, 72-10 against a York side who probably have joined this level maybe a year too soon, unfortunately for them, but they'll keep plugging away and Bradford get off the mark. And then in the big, most important game of the round and of the weekend, of course, was the derby. Wigan Warriors women 16, St Helens ladies 6. My favourite female player so far of the year, Becky Greenfield, was a star of the show here. Scored a nice try to seal it. Wigan went down early to Saints. 6-0 it was very early on. But then Wigan had the rest of the running, really. Other than goal kicking, which let down from the previously reliable Michelle Davis. But Georgia Wilson coming back into the side looked really good in the centres, and Becky Greenfield had a couple of assists as well as the try that she scored, so great stuff for her. Rachel Thompson's also a class player who was involved in Greenfield's try that polished the game off, but great play by Wigan to win it. Great celebrations at the end as well.
Did see a couple of the Saints players saying how disappointed they were with the game, so it shows that it does mean quite a lot to them, which is good to see, and it'll be good when those two play each other again.
Definitely. Into the NRL then, it was round 10 of action. West Tigers 20, Cowboys 12. Knights 18, Panthers 29. Bulldogs 20, Eels 12. Warriors 0. Injury hampered Warriors 0. Roosters 32, so good win for them. Storm 28, Titans 14. Sea Eagles 38, Broncos 24. And what was probably a bit of an upset because the Sea Eagles have been a bit down on things
through
this
various
year,
things.
Very good performance from Manly. Rabbitohs 24, Dragons 10. Again, a little bit of an upset, but Sam Burgess returning to the side with 3 successful offloads. 147 metres was pretty talismanic for the Rabbitohs in this one against the top of the table Dragons. Tom and George both played, didn't quite get over the line for the stats, for stat recognition, but still did okay by all accounts. James Graham for the Dragons put in a typical James Graham performance, 141 metres. Widdop played as well, but wasn't able to be influential here in a Burgess-led victory for the Rabbits. And then finally, Raiders 16, Sharks 24. Elliot Whitehead's continuing his really good season for the Raiders in a really average season for the Green Machine. 1 try assist and 103 metres for him. All that means the Dragons stay top despite their second defeat of the season. Panthers move to second on points difference ahead of the Warriors. Storm are fourth, but the next 4 sides also have the same points as them: the Rabbitohs, the Roosters, the Tigers and the Sharks. Outside the top 8 come the Broncos, the Knights, the Raiders, the Sea Eagles, the Bulldogs, the Cowboys, the Titans and the Eels. I think only 12 points separates the entire league table there. We've had
It's very close,
4 reviews of a sort in on other games over the weekend, Tim, and we always want to cover any reviews we get in from the fans. So do you want to take us through the 4 of those?
Yep, certainly will. So we'll start off down on the south coast. It was Portsmouth against the Oxford Cavaliers, and this one comes from Samuel, who's assistant coach there at Sumo Samsonell. He said the Cavaliers making a long away trip to Portsmouth with the first ever player coming through from the club's youth academy, such the one run by John Connaughton, previous friend of the show. And with all Golds and Oxford RL gone, how are we going to develop the game in the south outside of London? It's a question he puts there, which is good, but good positive for the Cavaliers.
Do you have
bringing through a play.
Do you have an opinion on that? I mean, it's your neck of the woods more so than mine.
I think it's just we've got to, effectively got to rip it up and start again to a certain extent, and you've got to build small local club sides and build a number of them rather than having kind of big centre clubs that you then hang things off. Have a number of clubs in a close area, so if you put sort of a second team nearby, that then they can build a rivalry off, and then that expands to a third team the next town down the road, and try and build it like that. Try and build around some of the popular rugby union clubs, because there's plenty of rugby union clubs in this sort of area. So it's just trying to partner with some friendly clubs there and try and build.
And it's got to be those clubs working together as well, rather than we've seen instances of some of the clubs. I don't want to say getting ideas above the station because they're really wanting to develop and push forward, but maybe they need to think about the regions before they're thinking about trying to break.
No, I think that's very much
possibly. Not that I want to hold any club back. It's just you feel like there's probably not enough strength in depth in any of the smaller local competitions to push into bigger regional competitions potentially.
And the key is to develop the youth to a point where you've got players playing rugby league as their main sport rather than playing rugby union and then switching in the summer.
And not being available for every other game because they can't. They've got other stuff on and stuff.
Yeah, so you need to develop a core of players that are going to be rugby league is going to be their main sport.
Scary radio silence about the All Golds Oxford Bristol situation, isn't there? Really? Well,
there has been some news this week with the Gloucester Warriors have merged with the All Golds to become the All Golds. So they have renamed. So the Gloucester Warriors have been around for a fair chunk of time. They're sort of one of the stalwarts of that sort of area. They have renamed themselves as the All Golds.
And it's good in terms of brand maybe and bringing things together, but it doesn't add to the to the pool of teams available, does it?
No.
Sadly? No.
It's borrowing one to replace with another, and it makes me wonder that is the Bristol thing not going to happen?
That's my concern. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, there's been, as far as I've seen in the media, I've had absolutely nothing come out, and there's nothing been anything locally that's come out that I'm aware of. So watch the space, but and who knows what's going on in the background. But certainly publicly, there's not a lot.
Do you want to whiz through a few, the other few? Then we've got Heartlands in France, Heartlands up north, and Heartlands of History. So
SO 13 Avignon versus Saint-Estève 13 Catalan. This kind of comes from Alan Walker. And it's a hard-fought win, i.e. plenty of biff. Great to watch. We're well top. That's a bit worrying, really, though. Bottom of Super League, reserves top of Elite One. If French RL gets any lower profile, it will be invisible. The money in Rugby Union's top 14 is massive. If yawning in England ever gets sorted out, Visca els Dracs. So we've also had a response from Brian Davis on one of the games that was on Premier Sport. It's a Siddle versus Underbank.
Oh, sorry, we should have said what the score was in that.
Oh yeah, that would have helped.
The Catalan game. I think it was 34-32 or something like that. Very exciting by the looks of the scoreline. I will find it.
Okay, well we'll do Brian in the meantime.
I've got it.
And
34-30. It ended up to the Catalans over Avignon. Yeah.
Oh, decent result there. So Brian said, enjoy Saturday NCL games on Free Sport. The clubs all want to make the most of their moment on TV, like the Champ clubs did when they were on Sky on Thursdays. Underbank, promoted to NCL Premier this year, started well, but Siddle gradually got through thanks to player coach Gareth English to win 44-18. Siddle are a top club, not as big as Luke Robinson reckons, but then Luke Robinson's going to reckon a lot of things are massive because he's so small.
It's all about perspective.
when you built like a small chair, it's not going to surprise anyone, is it? Even if last year's under-16s have all signed for pro clubs, I wonder if that's anything to do with his youth development role. And finally, we've had a review that's been lost in time for we've got the Captain America of reviews from Cutthroat Jake, and he says Wakefield against Leeds, the water splash final, and what a fantastic documentary by the BBC. Don Fox was a wonderful player who deserves to be remembered for much more than this match. And for all fans complaining about the refs today, just watch the penalty try from this match and be thankful. #refs fault, winky face.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch the full rerun of the game that they ran on the red button after the Challenge Cup game, but I did watch the documentary. And Emma,
I've not got around to it yet because also I was out on Saturday, so it's on the player ready to watch.
Yeah, Emma was touched by the documentary, as everyone was, but Emma's not a sports fan at all. We've mentioned numerous times on the podcast, but she really was touched by this, so it just shows the power of the documentary, and great job by all involved. Okay, that is all the results from around the world of Rugby League. We're now going to look forward to next weekend, where it is Magic.
Oh.
So, Tim, it's previews and predictions now, and it's Super League Round 15, but that's not its full title. It is the Magic Weekend at St James's Park. I will be there. Make sure you find me and say hello. I'll be there for both days, and I'll watch most of the games. I might nip out during Widnes Saints. But yeah, try and find. I've got tickets for the stand. That's not the big stand.
Not the Gallagher.
The Gallagate's the end, innit?
That's the one that just goes up and you're basically in space.
So I'm not in an end. I'm on the side, but I'm led to believe I can get into the ends if I need to. I don't know. That's what people tell me, but I always find it more difficult to move around these places than other people. I don't know why. I must look dodgy with my beard and stuff. Anyway, I will be there on Saturday and Sunday. If anyone wants to say hello, grab a beer, and have a chat. Apart from